Mr. Gunther. So I'd just like to thank you for doing this interview.
Oh, sure. Glad to help.
So, how long have you been the choral director at Woodstown High School?
Been here 16 years, but for a portion of that time I was also the middle school choir director. And then about 10 years ago, my duties were exchanged exclusively to the high school, and I'm just the high school director now.
All right, and do you enjoy directing all the different choirs here?
I do, and I really appreciate the opportunity rather, to work with different experience levels, beginning students and then also the very advanced students.
And what kind of groups are there?
Well, we have a general chorus of over 90 students, which features anybody that really wants to take choir. A group about half that size, which is the concert choir that students have to audition for. And then a group about half that size called the chamber choir, which is also an audition group. And then we have some groups that meet just at particular times of the year, women's choir, and sometimes we put together a men's choir as well.
All right, so every year, like, people graduate, new students come in that are freshmen, and just in general that haven't done the choir before. So what's it like essentially having to direct a new choir every year?
I mean, it really is different, and the personality, I think, the personality of the choir, to me, is the key thing, even more so than the talent level or the ability level of the students. So there are certain years where the overall vibe of the group is very positive, and they want to work very hard, and then there's certain years where you have personalities within the group that don't get along so well, and then I have to take on a more coaching role with those students that I would maybe not otherwise have to do.
How do you feel about your choir this year in particular?
This year in particular, I was very, very pleased with the choir overall, and I feel like we have a lot of young talent coming up into the group that integrated nicely, and they found that balance of asserting themselves, getting involved, and at the same time allowing themselves to grow and develop as musicians.
So you recently returned from a competition in Williamsburg, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what was that like?
It's nerve-wracking. It's nerve-wracking for me. I mean, the honest answer is I'm very nervous when I go to competitions. I try not to let my students tell them. Every once in a while I'll tell them flat out, I get nervous. But I think it's a good experience for our students because it kind of puts them under the microscope. And you can't just sing your songs for your parents and they're all going to clap and say, great job. It's going to be, every detail is going to be listened to and torn apart and hopefully put back together.
All right, so how did you do there?
2 of the choirs received ratings of gold and 1 received rating of silver. Competition, unfortunately, was pretty stiff, and for each of those groups, we received 2nd place for each group.
All right, so how do you feel about it, though, personally?
I feel very good about it. I thought, like, my evaluation of a performance or of a competition is simply whether or not I felt that my choirs performed up to, what is the word potential? More like, did they perform up to their preparation? In other words, where they're at musically, individually, where they are as a group, how much practice we've had, what we've done to that point, are they showing their best out there in the competition? And if they've done that, they've shown their best for where they are musically, I'm satisfied with the performance. And I felt that our groups did that.
All right, so what other things did you do while you were in Williamsburg besides the competition itself?
We did some sightseeing of historic Williamsburg. We took a ghost tour. We went to a performance of what's called an international tattoo of different military bands and color guards. We went to Busch Gardens for a day. So what I try to do with these trips when we set them up is to have a blend of performances, competition, cultural events, which could be considered educational and enriching, and stuff that hopefully, as young thinking high school students, they'll get something out of it. And then at least one day where it's just plain fun. In this case, it was Busch Gardens.
So this is kind of like a personal thing for you. I know some of your students have given you certain nicknames, such as KG, which is an abbreviation for Kahlil Gunther. Right. So what other kind of nicknames have you been given, and can you give any stories for them?
The whole kind of like KG turned into Cage, and then turned into Rage Cage. That was kind of unusual. I get Gunthinator, that kind of thing. Gunth is probably like the one that I get the most often. Gunth, or Gunther, and we'll end with this nickname, which is not really a nickname, it's my first name. As seniors get into April or May of their senior year, they find it incredibly amusing to call me by my first name.
All right, so what are some of your favorite moments in your history of teaching and directing here at Woodstock?
Favorite moments include just the performance opportunities and the competition opportunities. One of my favorite was 2007 when we sang in New York at Riverside Church. It was a big cathedral, and the sound was just incredible. It was kind of a building that we had never performed in before.
So, can you describe any of your methods on how you place people into specific choirs? And I know you have like section leaders for specific things. What are some of your methods?
So every student must complete an audition if they're going to be considered for any of these select groups. And once that audition is completed, I give it a score, and then it's also scored by one of my other colleagues, either a recent graduate, another music teacher, or a colleague from another school. And those are graded completely separately, and 2 scores are averaged together. And then they're ranked. They're ranked according to what group they're going to be put in.
All right. So aside from directing the choirs here, what are some of the other things that you do?
I principally do 3 different things musically outside of school. I play on the weekends a lot, and in the summer, usually as a solo pianist at restaurants, weddings, things like that. I teach piano privately at my home. I have about 20 students. And the other thing that I do, which is a lot of fun, and it's again for side work, I do a lot of editing of tracks for people, creating accompaniment tracks for people. Primarily 2 different voice studios that I work with. Tracks emailed to me or music emailed to me, and I'll have to create an accompaniment at the piano. It's kind of fun. It's very different. It's a lot more work by myself with the headphones on in my home studio, as opposed to working with a group of people musically. So it's a nice change of pace.
So is there anything else you'd just like to add?
Yeah, I just think probably the most rewarding thing about my job is the opportunity to take students in the fall, pass out music to them they've never seen before, take those notes that are on the paper, which are just ink on paper, and transform that into a performance, where they can do justice to the music and feel as though that they've created something of artistic value.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Gunther.
You got it.
Would you like to play us out?
Sure, I'd like to play.
All right.
Okay. All right. Sorry, this is pretty obvious, or no? What? Never mind. Should I start that again?
What other kind of trips do you have?
That we've taken? Well, we do the sorry. Well, what's happening now? I know this is a very serious interview, but there was a very laughable fellow that just walked through.
I noticed. Does he want to be a special guest?
I think he might. Want to come over?
Going home.
This is my cousin. Here you go. You can sit right here.
I don't know if the camera's gonna see you. So
right, get up. Sit right here. Here, you grab a seat.
Sit down for a second.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like to answer this question. I think what. No, it's all right. That's okay. We'll speak one up face to face. But this is my cousin Federico, and we had the opportunity to perform once together, piano duo, for the vice president. I don't know if you know this about Joe Biden, but he's a very quirky guy. And he will sometimes hire musicians to play. One dressed in a tuxedo, very straight-laced, and the other to wear like jeans and a t-shirt and some unusual Halloween mask. And the actual performance is very serious, apart from the fact that one of them will wear this unusual Halloween mask and be dead silent, kind of like a Penn and Teller routine. So that's what we did for the vice president. Remember that?
How do you feel about Mr. Gunther here?
I think he's great. And I'd just like to say to all my fellow frogs in biology class, fight the power.
Thank you very much.
Can I just say that Federico is a good guy, but he's a little delusional about the frogs. They're all dead. I mean, they're marked for death.
Right. So just a few more questions.
Okay. Dude, you're gonna edit all this, I guess.
We'll see how it goes.
Because my students need to be told that.
More.
My students need to go sit over there quietly, please.
I'm dead.
Guys,
Makes
Mr.
it more
Gunther's
real.
being interviewed. You need to be quiet on that side of the room.
Do you want to sit over?
Do everything again. All right.